Hello friends. Today the article which we are going to analyze is published on Hindu on 16th June 2020. This piece is written by M.K. Narayanan and he is a former National Security Advisor and former Governor of West Bengal also. The title is Remaining Non-Aligned is Good Advice. This article is written in the context of Indo-China relationship, and we know that recently one standoff is going on, and earlier also in many occasions this standoff happened. So to appreciate this article, we need to have some background, like our India-China War of 1962 and many standoff which happened between India and China in the Ladakh region. And now China is also building this BRI, this and CPEC. This is basically it is in Pakistan, and BRI is basically Belt Road Initiative. It's covering. It's like earlier times one Silk Road was there. In the same concept, this Belt Road Initiative has been made by China, and we should know about G7, India Pacific, and Quad. So this basically all this information give a context for appreciation of this article. Now what author is saying, that the relationship between India and China, what author is recommending, that for this relationship the approach of India should be of non-aligned and neutral approach, because that serve India well. So if you see that current standoff between India and China, there are certain things comes out, and related to this standoff there is a story, there is a newspaper headlines that some kind of agreement has been reached, and some partial disengagement happened. And this is what author is saying, that this is not giving the complete picture of the ground reality, and this is somehow taking the attention away from the build-up of China at LAC. Means whatever the military build-up China is making at LAC, that is actually getting deflected, that our attention should be of that build-up whatever the China is making, and somehow this kind of stories is taking away our attention from this thing. And so there are many things which we have to see here, and this current standoff is different, what author says, because it seems that it has got the sanction or approval of top leadership, and it is not as the media has said that it is due to India is making infrastructure, particularly road along in our claimed territory of LAC. So China is objecting to that thing. So what author contention is, that it is not that India is building a road because of that this standoff started, but there are many other region which has caused this standoff, and that's why all other region we have to analyze. So here we can see that basically the author has made a point that this standoff is different, and there are certain other aspect which is working here in this standoff, and we should be aware, and appropriate action accordingly we should take. So how this what are the other aspect of this standoff author has analyzed here. So here we see that there are various other point which is affecting India and China relationship, and here you can see that one factor is a geopolitical factor, particularly the role of America, and India is projected somehow because if you see that in Asia, other than India, nobody is there to challenge China. So in geopolitical term, basically India is projected, or India is seen as a future or current bulwark against China, and this is one kind of literature or one kind of projection we see happening not only in India but in other foreign countries also. And what happened that over a period that India, from the initial non-alignment movement to current stage, there is a gradual shift of India towards America. That also is one fact we can see. And because of this gradual shifting, uh, there are many platform or many association driven mostly by America. India is becoming participants like Indo-Pacific groupings, basically, which is basically to mint against China. Similarly, recent incident of G7 where China was excluded, and this membership of Quad, which is again directly or indirectly directed against China. So here in geopolitical term, what we see that India is seen or being projected or considered potential challenger of China given its size, population, and the kind of capacity potential India has. And India also has seen that it has gone gradually shifted towards America over a period of time. If you consider from non-alignment movement to this stage, that you can find that there is a shift towards America. And again, some geopolitical grouping which is directly or indirectly made or targeted against China, India is becoming party of that thing. So this has been resented or this has been objected by China. In because Chinese newspaper or Chinese think tank, they are seeing that shift of India, and they are seeing that basically directly indirectly India is becoming party to the Western power, which is basically trying to limit or affect the Chinese power or Chinese influence. This one kind of containment strategy. And again, this whatever the India's reaction about this Belt Road Initiative, because India has not joined the Belt Road Initiative, and Pakistan as a part of BRI, Pakistan is having CPEC, and India in many forum or in many occasion, India has disapproved of CPEC, and this because this Belt Road Initiative is a very one kind of prime movement by Chinese, and they take it very carefully about BRI things, and for that purpose they have made a lot of investment all over the world, basically to connect China with other country, make physical connection so that for market investment purpose or for natural resource purpose. So this is, and India has not made itself a party to this thing. So China again resent India for this thing. So this is in context of bilateral relationship. This BRI is one factor, and again China has made huge investment in Pakistan in CPEC, and again India is not supportive of that thing. That is the way China consider it. And recently, because of this economic condition, lockdown condition, where the economic activities are down, India has curbed Chinese FDI. That also has not gone in favor. And recently, there is a lot of propaganda happening against China in India. That also has been taken note. So this is the basically these are the chills which are happening within India-Pakistan bilateral relationship. So that is what author has pointed out. And not only this thing, there are certain internal dynamics also, because this Mr. Xi Jinping, that president of the China, he has accumulated more power, and he become most powerful leader in the country. Because of that, there is against him there is a lot of internal, there is a lot of protest is going on. So that is one internal challenge to the leadership of Mr. Xi Jinping. And again, this COVID-19 situation and how this COVID-19 situation has affected the economy, and recently one Hong Kong issue also has come, and all over world you will find that there is a anti-China sentiment is building up. So because of not only internal dynamics but bilateral relationship and what are the geopolitical factors playing uh, in India-China relationship, this kind of chill, what we can say, is building up between India and China. So that is one factor, because what China is thinking or feeling that India is not no longer neutral in relationship or making equidistance between China and America, but becoming more in the favor of America for the region of containment of China. So that neutrality is is of India is seen somehow gone, and it has gone towards the American favor. So that has got the implication in the border issues, and that is the reason we are seeing that standoff is happening. So we can see here the relationship, that whatever the border standoff happening, not only related to the local activity, but it has many wider application also, wider implication also. Means because of India's China bilateral relationship, what are the geopolitical factors playing between India and China, because of America or other groupings of country, and their China's internal dynamics. So in toto or in together, this has resulted between a standoff between India and China in terms of border dispute or incursion or these kind of things. So what author recommended that India should, because the China one famous aphorism is to keep your head low and bide your time. Means that is the main strategy India should follow, what China followed earlier, because in comparative terms the power of India is less compared to China, because China is now almost become a second superpower. So India should bid its time and wait when it is able to challenge China. Up to that time, India should not provoke China. So the diplomacy has a very important role to play here. And for that purpose, for diplomacy has to work, India should be non-aligned and should have a neutral approach. Because if China feels or consider India has gone in against it, then will have a implication in border. So what author recommended that India should have a non-aligned and neutral approach in dealing with China, and that way we can mend our relationship and coexist. Meanwhile, India should keep on preparing and keep on increasing its strength and bid for its time. That is the analysis of the first article, and the second article is lesson for Yogi from Gandhi and Lee. This article is published again on June 16, 2020 by Mr. Arun Mehra. This article basically the economic model, it talks about the economic model, and it suggests that the same economic model what Singapore has applied and what Gandhiji has suggested, same economic model India should have. That economic model is more human, local, focusing on local, and it has a Gandhian way of economic growth. So for that purpose we should know that the context of this article is that UPCM is asking all migrant workers to come back and is trying to create a job and home for them within UP. And you have to remember that UP has a population of 200 million compared to Singapore, which has a population of only 6 million. And this migration issue, that's migrant labor issue, not only within India but it has globally. Somehow you will find that migrants are not welcome anywhere in the world. Every country is creating a barrier against migrant from other country. The globalization has made easy for capital to go from one place to another. You can make investment, you can withdraw money from anywhere to any time, but that is not so easy for migrant labor. So here you can see that this is the type of situation we have, and this is giving the context for this our this piece. Now, in terms of policies, what author is saying that what Singapore has done, the same model we should have for UP also. There are a lot of difference between these two, but as a policy wise, what the author is recommending, that Singapore under the leadership of Lee Kuan Yew, the way he developed Singapore, and using the same model we can do the same thing in UP or across the India. So what Lee did, he wanted that Singapore to be made as a developed country. He no longer wanted a developing or poor country, because he wanted that in Singapore should be the first developed country in Asia. And his approach was not that you just increase the size of the GDP, but he wanted to increase the income of its citizens. So here you can see there is a different approach. He wanted that the income of its citizen should increase. The focus was individual income of the person, not how the country's GDP is growing. So here you can see that the focus is shifted towards income of the citizen rather than overall GDP of the country. And Lee has used the strategic location of the Singapore, availability of cheap labor, to invite MNC. He used that the natural resource location or availability of the labor in Singapore to invite MNC for many things, for manufacturing or for many other activities. And not only he invited, but he created world-class infrastructure, efficient administration and low tax regime. So here you can see, but up to this point you will find that many countries are having the same approach. But here one change happened. What Lee asked, or what Lee insisted, that not only you invest here because we are providing you good infrastructure, labor, efficient administration, low tax, but he asked MNC to help in upgrading of the skill of the Singapore citizen, because he wanted that over a time the Singapore citizen should grow in terms of skill. They should not be confined to the low paid manual kind of skill. So over a time their skills should grow, so that they will be eligible, or they have a potential to earn more, so that their income will grow. So if you have a better skill, you have a better income. So that is the correlation exists everywhere. So that's why he invited industry and he asked them that citizens should or employees should be trained for better or for future skill, so that the company will also grow and their citizens or their employees income also grow with time. and for providing training, skill training purpose, he invited Tata also. So here you can see there are many policy implications are here, that you invite private company, you provide them better, good infrastructure, better administration, low tax, and you provide them labor. But that is not the end of the story. You train the labor force for upskilling, so that their earning potential will grow over a period of time. So this is one human centric approach was there of Mr. Lee, which has made Singapore what it is. The same Gandhian model, now we come to the Gandhian model of economy. You know that Mahatma Gandhi was focusing on village, and he kept a village at the center of our economic model. And he not only economic thing, but he talked in terms of social freedom and economic freedom. So Mahatma Gandhi has made his economic model the village at its center. So because of that reason, it was criticized, because it was considered as impractical or romantic. But that is what we see here, that the same model was used in Singapore, where they kept the focus on the individual citizens' growth, and Singapore has grown like anything. So the same thing economists are also suggesting in India, that we should keep people or community at the center. We should focus on local governance, and there should be a kind of trusteeship should be developed, so that one kind of philanthropy or one kind of social commitment should grow in the country. So that is the thing Gandhian model says, because the test of public policy must not be what is good for the investor or GDP, but what is good for the people. And economy must serve human need, not just not just to make man become a fodder for the GDP. So this humanistic approach of economy was the approach we see that Singapore has made, and what the Mahatma Gandhi has recommended. So overall, this piece says that we should have a more human and local oriented Gandhian way of economic growth, so that our economy will also grow along with people, citizen. That we should not unnecessary or too much focus on the GDP, but we should focus people. So that is the way the growth or economy should work. That conclude my second analysis of second article. I hope it has made your understanding better. Thank you for watching.